I'm David Horn. Today we're here to talk about the Bankroll Freddie case.
Can you do this?
We'll discuss what he has allegedly done, what he's been charged with, and what he's basically looking at, and what he might have for defenses. I am not giving legal advice to anybody, Bankroll Freddie or anybody else. He's represented by an attorney, and I always recommend you follow the recommendations of your attorney. I'm not trying to solicit his business. We're just discussing a case that everybody knows about and people are interested in. Bankroll Freddie is a rap artist from Arkansas. He's really one of the biggest, if not the biggest, rap artist that's ever come out of Arkansas. So a lot of people in Arkansas are obviously interested in that case because here's one of their own, that actually made it and was about to sign off on big contracts and stuff, and he was making his way. And then now he's sidelined by this. Recently, Bankroll Freddie was arrested in Jonesboro, and he and his father, Freddie Gladney Jr., were named in a 61-count indictment that included charges for drug dealing, guns, including machine guns, and conspiracy. I've never had a case with 61-count indictment. But I have had cases that were federal cases that did involve, drug trafficking, methamphetamine, fentanyl, and including guns, simultaneous possession of narcotics and firearms. I've got federal cases pending right now in court with charges like that. On November 9th of last year, there was a major federal drug bust.
There he goes. Oh, get him. Hey, what are you doing? Hey, you have to write to an attorney. Hey, Palmer. What is
Surprise!
Your 1000th drug bust. We're very proud of you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it, man.
Thanks, man.
Congratulations.
Shut the up.
He got arrested in that big drug bust. And that RICO stuff, the way they got RICO makes it easier to prosecute somebody when you prosecute somebody on RICO because it's so vague. What RICO is actually racketeer, influenced, corrupt organization.
We might just get hit with the RICO.
They're basically talking about a criminal enterprise. And a lot of people have been charged with that. Usually when you see RICO cases, you're looking at mob cases and organized crime, white collar crime. Because it's not just RICO cases are not just drug cases or conspiracy cases and stuff like that. There's money laundering. People can money launder pretty damn easy without even trying it, And the people they get to do that is they get these high-priced law firms and stuff like that that are trying to legitimize this money.
Your filthy drug money has been transformed into nice, clean, taxable income brought to you by a savvy investment in a thriving business.
And then they end up getting indicted as well, under RICO.
Fact is, Walter White couldn't have done it without me.
But they probably would have had to have some other, you would have to assume that there's some other informant or something that's involved in this that's trying to get themselves out of some kind of serious trouble, because they would have had to get a warrant, to do the wiretap on somebody. They get a warrant, they do a wiretap. But yeah, I've had experience where people have been wiretapped. I had a client that I was going to represent, but they decided not to retain me, and that client spent a few years in federal prison, but I think provided some type of some level of cooperation that resulted in them getting a favorable thing. Because when I first talked to that person, they said, I didn't do anything at all. They can't have anything on me, but I already knew because I had talked to the prosecutor and I knew they had a wiretap. And I said, hey, they've got your recording from your phone where you are facilitating a drug crime. So they've got you on speaker, they've got you on your phone, they've wiretapped you, they know all these moves. That's why all of you guys, you 30 people here are arrested at this time,
That ain't me.
This is the clearest video I've ever seen. This is the most HD shit ever. This is 4K. How did they get you in 4K?
Because they're listening to you. Yeah, I represented a guy that was in the cartel before. He had dual citizenship in Mexico and Canada, and his front was a car dealership. and he would go pick up cars in Canada and he would drive them back to Mexico. And he got stopped in Arkansas. He gets in Texas, you know, it's not that much further to go over to Mexico, but he had his wife with him, he had his kid with him, you know, and they do that sometimes because it just looks like a family that's traveling somewhere. The car looked like a container car to the state trooper that pulled him over for following too close. You know, if he was following too close, all he should have got was a ticket for that and he should have went on his way. But the cop said, I want to search your car. And when he searched it, that's when he becomes suspicious. You know, he started seeing, he said, I think stuff could be concealed, but he couldn't find anything. And then he asked the guy, can I take this back to the shop? And then you can get a hotel or whatever. We want to look at this more closely. And he allowed him to do it. But when I talked to him about it, he said, I didn't think you could refuse something like that, you know? So they did, and he paid me a couple $1,000 just to answer the forfeiture complaint. They filed a forfeiture complaint saying we're going to keep the car, okay? And I said, okay, I'll answer it and I'll try to get it back. Well, after I filed my response to the forfeiture complaint, like 2 days later, I had a call from the feds, federal prosecutor saying, we found $400,000 in small bills concealed in compartments on his car. I said, well, I can see now why he wanted his car back. And they said, we're not going to indict him unless you continue with this forfeiture complaint. You know, so if you do that, we are going to charge him with money laundering. So I called him up. I said, okay, they're not going to indict you, but they're keeping your car and they're keeping the $400,000 that they found in your car. I said, what I can do for you is I'll get you a letter or something from DEA or something saying it wasn't your fault so somebody doesn't kill you. He said, no, I don't need you to do that for me. So that told me, without him really telling me, he was pretty high up in the chain in this cartel, because he's not going to get killed over this $400,000. I mean, I'd be sick if I lost $400,000. He just kind of blew it off. I said, you're not going to arrest it, and you're fine, you know, but you lost your car, you lost your money. He said, are they watching me? I said, yeah, well, yeah, they're watching. They're definitely watching you now.
I'm watching you, Wazowski. Always watching.
So, you know, you're coming back and forth through the states. If you're doing this, you better, you know, modify your operation, because, or take a different route or do something like that, because you're on their radar. You know, I haven't heard from him since, so I don't know. I'm David Horn. I am a criminal defense attorney here, local in Little Rock. I go statewide, practice in state and federal court. What I can see from this case, without, you know, reviewing discovery, I'm just knowing what the charges are. I know he's got very serious charges, and it's going to take a serious lawyer to get him out of this fix that he's in right now. I mean, you're going to have to do your research, you're going to have to know all your defenses, and you're going to have to put up a serious fight if you want to prevail in this case. So anybody, if you know anybody out there that's in a similar situation that is not represented, I'm here.
I beat the case. All this cash that I made.